Parliament begins public sitting on promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values bill begins.
Tema Development Corporation demolishes structures at an area on the Sprinters Road notorious for sex workers. Nationally determined contribution on climate and air quality protection launched.
And Belarus threatens to cut off gas to EU in border row.
This is GBC News Time for News Hour. Hello, good evening. I'm Sirko Kwakucha. Welcome to the news.
Good evening. My name is Shirley Annan. Robert Frimpong Manso translates the news into sign language. Parliament's Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs on Thursday began a public hearing on the Proper Human Sexuality and Ghanaian Family Values Bill 2021. On day one, some intellectuals, members of the CDD, civil society organizations and religious bodies strongly argued out their position on the bill.
A veteran lawyer, Mr. Kotampao, an apostle of Kuragu of the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council were among the first persons to address the committee. Members of the committee said they were happy about the public debate generated from various stakeholders since the introduction of the anti-LGBTQI+ bill. Since its introduction, some members of Parliament and religious bodies have advocated for the passage of the bill, while other civil society groups and academia have opposed the bill, stressing that it violates fundamental human rights when passed in its current composition. The committee has so far received over 150 memoranda from individuals, groups and faith-based organizations and has planned to hear 10 petitions each week.
Meanwhile, human rights activist and veteran lawyer Mr. Kotampao says there is no legitimate justification for the passage of the anti-LGBTQI+ bill. Addressing members of Parliament's Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs on behalf of the group of concerned Ghanaian citizens against the anti-LGBTQI+ bill, he explained that the bill does little to protect the Ghanaian family law. On the other hand, Apostle Kuragu of the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council said Ghana needs the anti-LGBTQI+ bill to be passed into law as the bill to customize and protect existing Ghanaian values.
Irrespective of the number of people that may support the piece of legislation, the legislation must meet that first provision, fundamental provision of the Constitution. If it doesn't, by clause 2 of Article 1, that bill or that legislation is void. The bill is grossly unconstitutional. There is no legitimate justification for it to be passed into law. It is neither necessary to protect any legitimate public interest or the rights of others. Moreover, it is not reasonable nor proportionate to the non-existent mischief it purportedly seeks to cure, and in fact does little to promote so-called Ghanaian family values. It is the bill and its provisions are, with respect, incurably defective. We accordingly urge the Select Committee on Constitutional and Legal and Parliamentary Affairs to advise Parliament to reject this bill.
The passing of this bill into law, which we expect will come on, will give eloquent expression the sovereign will of majority of the people who Parliament represents. We also see it as a very bold attempt to win this dear nation of ours from the dangerous notion that anything foreign is deemed good for us. This nation has been inundated with all forms of foreign values. And we see this bill as a very bold attempt he dissociates Ghana from such a menace. Because you see the bill as trying to customize our distinct values as a people by creating a situation that will preserve the sanctity of our time and values as a nation, which is free from foreign corruption and spoil position.
Improved air quality will save the lives of some 2,900 people in Ghana. This is through the implementation of mitigation measures in the updated nationally determined contribution NDCs, with aspects focusing on climate and air quality protection. The updated document was launched on Wednesday in Glasgow.
Under the 47 updated nationally determined contributions, NDCs are 13 adaptation and 34 mitigation policies. The positive outcome of successful implementation of the NDCs is a 64 million ton reduction in emission levels, create 1 million jobs, reduce about 3,000 avoidable deaths, and overall help achieve the Sustainable Development Goals.
We are confident that once they've been able to meet them, it will feed into the general developmental agenda of the government of the country. So National Development Planning Commission has a job to do alongside with us at the Ministry of Environment and Technology, and indeed all other sectors, to make sure that we download what is peculiar to our various institutions and ministries to be able to work on them.
Each sector, such as agriculture, will implement climate-smart food systems, transport, sustainable e-mobility, a sustainable energy transition, NADMO, and early warning and disaster risk management, resilience building, and social inclusion, among others.
Supposed to work with the Ministry of Employment to prepare a comprehensive jobs implications of these actions. We are going to work with the Ministry of Finance to do a detailed analysis of the investment requirements of these NDCs. We also want to finalize the NDC implementation plan from here and start already developing pipeline projects.
Launching the updated NDCs, the Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Kwekwe Fie, said Ghana is committed to the climate fight.
We will take all the actions that will make sure that the world listens to us, and then we'll save humankind. We are not afraid. We are sure. We believe that this is an enlightened self-interest who converges with the interests of other nations. So it is a good thing, a good step to take. That is why we are participating in every facet of COP26.
Other speakers urged technical experts to properly scrutinize conventions and agreements before signing on to. Implementation of these require funding of between $9.3 billion and $15 billion.
The Director of Communications at the Presidency, Mr. Eugene Ahin, says President Nana Akufo-Addo is committed to protecting the public purse and is on course with the duty of implementing policies to improve the living standards of all citizens. This comes on the heels of a statement by the Catholic Bishops' Conference on the President's inability to protect the public purse.
Of particular interest to us at the Presidency are the comments made by the respected Catholic Bishop to the effect that, and I quote, "The expressed commitment of the President of the Republic to protect the public purse, a promise that citizens welcomed, seems to be an illusion now. Inasmuch as this administration is extremely tolerant of divergent views and welcomes criticisms of its work, we believe that these criticisms should be well-founded and well-grounded in fact, as this is the only way an honest conversation devoid of malice and propaganda can be held." The oath of office on 7th of January 2017 and again on 7th of January 2021. And on both occasions, he pledged to protect the public purse, and that's exactly what he has done and he continues to do. Indeed, the transformation that has taken place in all aspects of national life point to an economy that has been well managed, a public purse that is being well protected, and the benefits are showing. Indeed, if President Akufo-Addo had superintended over the wanton dissipation of public funds, firstly, the Ghanaian people would not have reposed their confidence in him barely 10 months ago by returning a decisive margin of victory for him in the 2020 elections. Now, free SHS, which guarantees a minimum of senior high school education for all Ghanaian children and has already granted access to some more than 400,000 children, would not have been possible if the public purse was not being protected. NAPCO, which has brought relief to some 100,000 graduates, would not have been feasible if the public purse was not being protected. The effective rollout of the National Identification Card, which has seen some 15.6 million Ghanaians issued with ID cards, up from the 700,000 issued under the 8 years of the Mills Mahama government, would also not have been possible if the public purse was not being protected. All of these, again, could not have been achieved by a government that has lost touch with the problems of Ghanaians, or by one that is presiding over the reckless dissipation of the public purse.
The presidency says media reports that it sent a large delegation to COP26 are false. According to the Director of Communications at the presidency, Mr. Eugene Ahin, the presidency sent a team of 24 to the COP26 summit in Glasgow, Scotland, and any other figure being suggested is untrue and should be disregarded.
Reference to the COP26, the President reiterated his position on climate change and the steps being taken to combat it. He, however, reiterated that the fight should not compromise Ghana's development. He also delivered statements on what Ghana is doing to protect her forest and her oceans. Now, one matter that has since generated some level of controversy is the supposed number of delegates that attended the COP from Ghana. Now, let me state for the record that the government of Ghana did not send or fund 337 Ghanaians to attend COP26. Indeed, there are three categories of persons who were permitted to attend COP26. And these are 1, United Nations and related organizations and agencies; 2, media and non-profit organizations with observer status; and 3, representatives of parties to the convention and observer states. I mean, from what we've seen so far, it has been shown that not all 337 persons who registered as participants indeed attended the summit. I mean, there were media personalities as well as reps from TSOs who were captured on the list of 337 persons, and who have also confirmed that their trip to Glasgow was not funded by government. So for the avoidance of doubt, let me place on record that the official presidential delegation, emphasis on presidential delegation, comprised of 24 persons, including the President, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, the Minister for Energy, the Minister for Land and Natural Resources, and the Minister for Environment, Science, Technology, and Innovation, as well as officials of the Presidency and Foreign Ministry.
High Life legend Nana Kwame Ampadu will receive a state burial. The Director of Communications at the Presidency, Mr. Eugene Ahin, announced the President's decision at the Jubilee House in Accra. Mr. Ahin said Nana Kwame Ampadu played a huge role in developing High Life music and helped to place it on the international map, and for which reason deserves state recognition.
On Tuesday, September 28, 2021, the family of Nana Ampadu announced the death of the High Life legend after a short illness. For many, the role and contribution of the music legend is worthy of recognition. It is said Nana Ampadu composed over 800 songs over a 50-year span in the music industry. To President Akufo-Addo, Nana Ampadu deserves to be recognized by the state and given a deserving final farewell.
The President has also taken the decision to honor the late legendary Ghanaian High Life musician Nana Ampadu with a state-assisted burial in honor of his services to the growth of Ghanaian music.
To the music industry, Nana Pedu has contributed immensely, and most of his songs remain classics, and his Ghanaian tunes are still part of our culture and identity.
President Akufo-Addo is scheduled to take his leave for 7 working days from the 13th to the 19th of November. But before then, he will travel to France for UNESCO's 75th anniversary. The president will present Ghana's free SHS and cultural development plan to UNESCO and will suggest the plan for UNESCO in the next 75 years. The president, after this assignment, will begin his 7-day leave.
President Akufo-Addo will from Saturday 13th November to Saturday 20th November take a much-deserved, long overdue 7-day leave of absence, during which he has also accepted an invitation to preside over the panel that would adjudicate a debate in the French Parliament on the trial of progress on 19th of November. He's expected to come back to Ghana on Saturday 20th of November, and in his absence, the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mamadou Bawumia, will act in his stead.
You're still watching News Hour live on GBC News, your news and governance channel. It's a known fact that Ghana is endowed with lots of tourist attractions. The downside, though, is that most of these sites are not developed enough to attract tourists and generate the needed revenue to develop the communities in which they are situated. One such site is Mount Adaklu in the Volta region. It is the giant solid rock revered by residents. This is one of the highest mountains in Ghana. Theodora Amedeto has visited Mount Adaklu and shares some breathtaking moments.
A 12-kilometer drive from Ho in the Volta region takes you to Mount Adaklu in the Adaklu district. It is about 600 meters above sea level and is held in high respect by the inhabitants as one of the highest mountains in Ghana. It is surrounded by 9 villages and has 3 routes in 3 villages, Gwepe, Aglipe and Helekpe, that provide at least a 3-hour hike to the summit of the mountain. A team made up of the tour guide, Mr. Dela Apenyo, a daughter of the late Queen Mother of Adaklu, Madame Akosia Kpedeku, a tutor at Mauko Senior High School, Ho, Mr. Aaron Ferronfenu, and a GBC 24 crew went on an expedition to the mountain. After some 30 minutes of trekking, we met some residents from nearby villages on the route. Madame Aurelia Eklu from Tokon, a village on the mountain, was on her way to a marriage ceremony at Helekpe.
I haven't been up the mountain before, but my children go all the time.
Along the route, we also met this couple from Kodiabe. Mr. Sichofe Gaunke tells us about life up and down the mountain.
We have plantain and cocoyam farms up the mountain. Our main problem up here has an access road to and around the mountain and water.
So we started the journey from Helekpe, and now we are at Kodiabe, the first village somewhere up the mountain.
Located about a quarter of the way up along the route of the summit of the mountain, it is a convenient resting place on this expedition using the Helekpe path. Up there, the scenery is beautiful. There are also ropes at vantage points to help make climbing a bit easier. In no time, we got to the first cave on the Adaklu mountain. Mr. De La Afenyo then led us to a small pond just beside the cave.
This was the water that our grandfathers were using when they were living at the cave, at the rock side over there. So it's good for consumption. We started this ecotourism in Adakro Mountain in the year 1997. A lot of people have been coming formally living during the rainy season. That's why they normally come to climb the mountain. But due to lack of funds, advertisement was not there. That's why this time we are just lacking foreigners. So we are pleading to the government to support us.
All too soon, it was time to return to town.
Former President John Mahama addressed the nation to end the Greater Accra Regional Thank You Tour, among other issues. Mr. Mahama focused on social justice and a sustainable economy.
In the 2020 elections, former president and presidential candidate of the NDC, Mr. John Mahama, polled 6,213,182, representing 47.36% of total vote cast. The NDC also increased its seats in parliament from 106 to 137. It's almost a year since the polls, and according to the former president, the over 6.2 million Ghanaians who voted for him and the party deserve acknowledgement, hence his thank you tour of the nation. Mr. Mahama was unhappy with the conduct of the 2020 elections, adding that the party has learned lessons and is willing to engage the EC to address the shortfalls.
We're willing to engage the Electoral Commission in constructive dialogue with a view to addressing the clear shortfalls of our present electoral system and fashion out one that meets the expectation of all if we can avoid the unfortunate incidents of 2020.
On the economy, Mr. Mahama said urgent steps must be taken by the government to address the current economic hardship. He also mentioned unemployment among the youth, corruption, insecurity, abuse of power, lack of investment and abandoned projects as banes of the nation.
I've shared with you a few thoughts which should drive our nation forward on the path of progress and prosperity. I've also advocated the need for a sustainable economy that creates jobs and opportunities for all and not just a few. And that is social justice. I'd always thought the posterity that was to judge me was very far away. But it has come too soon under this government's watch. I do not seek vindication. How can I seek vindication when the impact of this government's mismanagement of the economy has been so grave on the people of Ghana, whom I hold very dear?
Speaking about NDC's achievement in ICT, job creation and economic management and infrastructural development, the former president said he will continue to serve Ghanaians and the world at large and give hope, especially to the youth, to continue to look forward to a future of many possibilities. The former president also addressed a Deba of chiefs at Amasaman and also met with Zango chiefs at the National Mosque.
A new Patriotic Party says the country did not make any progress under the Mahama-led administration. At a media briefing in Accra, the Director of Communications of the party, Mr. Yao Boabia Samoa, said former President Mahama and the National Democratic Congress did little to restructure the financial patterns of the country. The NPP assured it will continue to champion programs to support the delivery of infrastructure, create jobs and improve the livelihoods of Ghanaians.
In spite of his long stay in power, Aspirant Mahama is yet to learn any lessons about public sector finances for job creation. In his speech, he complains, that is in his speech yesterday, he complains about a gap in financing of the public widow. Then he goes on to state that he's going to create 1 million jobs in the public sector. How is he going to fund those jobs? Has he so soon forgotten that public sector jobs do not turn a profit, but rather facilitate other sectors of the economy? Without clear revenue, how is he going to generate and pay 3 shifts of public sector workers?
Officials of the Tema Development Corporation (TDC) on Thursday demolished illegal structures near the EcoBank junction on the Spintex Road. This portion of the road is notorious for sex workers, and the structures are believed to be brothels used by prostitutes who are believed to live and work from there. These sex workers are said to harass unsuspecting visitors and residents along that route. Reports indicate that the TDCs have noticed to the squatters to vacate the premises after a fire outbreak in the area sometime last week.
It's GTP, the name behind authentic and original Ghanaian textile prints, and West Africa's leading print and textile brand. Step out in style in any GTP fabric. Classy, head-turning, elegant, snazzy. GBC newscasters are cloaked by GTP. The outfits are designed by Joanna Fashions, Nyaniba Estates, B Vogue Designs Kaswa, and Alan David Collections, Havana in Accra.
You're still watching News Are Live on GBC News, your news and governance channel. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll do some business news. Please stay. Study for the development of a new seaport. The Keta Port Development Project is complete, and findings are that the project is financially and technically viable. The project, which will be developed in phases, will come with a multi-purpose terminal as part of the first phase of a $600 million project. This came up at a stakeholder engagement to meet potential investors for the project in Accra.
In June 2020, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, GPHA, commissioned a German consulting firm to undertake a feasibility study and master plan, including a development and investment strategy for the port of Keta. It is to develop both a modern harbour and a strategic logistics hub for the Volta region. Now, with the completion of the feasibility studies, the next line of action for GPHA is to open up for tangible offers from potential investors for the construction of the Keta port. The board chair, GPHA, Mr. Isaac Osei, said the port of Keta would also open up investments into the exploration and exploitation of mineral resources within the Voltarian Basin. The Minister for Transport, Mr. Kweku Ofori-Esiama, said the involvement of the private sector is to bring the needed capital, expertise and efficiencies to turn Keta into a major port with ancillary industries.
Our vision as a country is to create an optimistic, self-confident and prosperous nation through creative exploration of human and natural resources and operating within a democratic, open and fair society in which mutual trust and economic opportunities exist.
The project director said the general layout of Keta Port includes multi-purpose terminals, shipyard, ship repair, dry docks, small craft services, fabrication, oil, liquid bulk access routes, rails, interchanges, among others. The Director General, GPHA, Mr. Michael Luguji, said the need to have a third commercial port has become necessary, and with the AFCFTA Secretariat in Ghana, this makes the country the first port of call for any investment opportunity.
Many of you are construction companies, but you have very significant network of investors and funding organizations that you partner with. Take a look at the presentation, study it in detail, ask all the questions as to how you can participate, and then bring in all the partnerships needed so that together you can partner government.
GBC News spoke to the Dumegan of Keta, Divine Kojo Jokoto.
I am praying hard that this will be a game changer for us.
The $600 million project would require capital injection from the private sector to translate the Keta port dream into reality.
Reliable and easy access to funding, expansion of manufacturing sector and investment in Tibet has been noted as Ghana's best bet to fully harness the potentials of the African Continental Free Trade Area. The National Development and Planning Commission's newly implemented guideline is to help local authorities not only to better understand and leverage the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, but also to support micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, in their jurisdiction to fully benefit from the trade bloc. At the launch of the NDPC's guidelines for the African Continental Free Trade Area in Accra, Professor Charles Aka, a senior research fellow at the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISE, called on governments to enhance the facilitation of soft loans to SMEs in order to reduce the cost of doing business.
People will come with their skills from Togo and from other countries and come and begin working in the Ghanaian companies. It's already happened in the tiles and painting and masonry and things. They are more skillful and sometimes they are even cheaper. Okay, and you can't stop them. You can still have people complaining and people complain they are taking away our business, they are taking away our job. But how do we compete? Because in a globalized world now, it's not about locking their shops, it's not about stopping them. Where we have a policy, we need to check whether the policy still makes sense and we still have to keep it. If we have to keep it, then we need to regulate. But otherwise, what we can do is actually to make sure that we enhance the capacity of the Ghanaian to be able to compete everywhere with everybody.
The Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Mr. Michael Otribefi, said his outfit is mobilizing the private sector to take advantage of the single African market through the government's initiatives like the Batampa Cares program and Maslok, which has sustained most private sector businesses.
The African Continental Free Trade Area initiative has come at the right time. It's the right time because already the government has been championing entrepreneurship policies such as the One District, One Factory initiative and others. Achieving these policies will largely depend on the availability of the market, hence the African Continental Free Trade Area offers.
The NDPC stressed on the need for government to create an enabling environment for metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies to generate internal funds to support local businesses with the potential of competing on the international market. And that was Business brought to you by MTN and Whirlpool. Thanks for watching.